Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo was firmly opposed to the Military Creation Act, which would allow Supreme Chancellor Palpatine to form a Grand Army of the Republic and instigate the war the disguised Sith Lord wanted. As a result, Padme became the target of an assassination attempt by bounty hunter Zam Wesell, and even though she survives, Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker is assigned to protect her on her journey back to her home planet of Naboo. Their peaceful retreat is firstly interrupted by Anakin's visions of his mother suffering on his home planet of Tatooine, and soon after, his master Obi-Wan Kenobi had discovered the existence of a droid army on Geonosis before his capture. Anakin and Padme go to rescue the Jedi, but quickly join Obi-Wan in being sentenced to death in the Petranaki Arena. With the help of Mace Windu and a strike team, the trio manage to escape and find themselves pursuing Dooku. Unfortunately, the gunship is struck by a cannon blast, and Padme fell with a clone trooper into the sand below. Anakin wanted to rescue her, but his master orders him to continue their pursuit of Dooku, convinced his capture would end the war. Eventually, neither Padme is seriously injured or Dooku captured, and the war proceeds as the Sith had foreseen. But what if Padme died when falling off of the gunship? Would Anakin turn to the dark side or learn to let go? What would happen to Naboo? All your questions are going to be answered. Obi-Wan ordered the clone pilot to pursue the speeder of Dooku, and as they navigate the fire of the Geonosian starfighters, Anakin senses imminent danger, but he cannot react as Padme fell out of the ship. As she began to fall, the senator looked to be descending to the safety of the soft sand, until a separatist speeder ran into her path, sending her flying into some rocky terrain. Obi-Wan cannot stop Anakin from his personal feelings taking over his judgment, as he leapt on to chasing Republic gunships. Finding Padme on the floor, Anakin roared as he felt no life from her, as the Jedi became fueled by the dark side, just as he had been on Tatooine. Yoda on a passing gunship felt the darkness and ordered him to stop, but it was too late as Anakin ignited his lightsaber and began a rampage on any droid he could see. Further ahead of the enraged Anakin, his master had caught up to Dooku and felt the former Jedi Master's dark side mastery around his secret hangar. Obi-Wan still bravely ignited his blade and blocked Dooku's lightning attack, then engaged in lightsaber combat. Obi-Wan was no match for Dooku's form too, and he fell to the floor, watching helplessly as Dooku sauntered towards his solar sailor. But suddenly, Dooku's ship fell off the slanting cliff face, and the Sith apprentice was pushed back into one of the pillars. Obi-Wan looked up through his pain, and his eyes widened at the sight of Anakin. His Padawan was possessed with hate, and Obi-Wan knew that Padme had perished from her fall. Again Anakin was reckless, surging at Dooku before Obi-Wan could warn him, and he struck by a lightning attack. Anakin, however, embraced the pain that the lightning caused, lifting several wall mountings away from their positions and pushing them into Dooku, who sliced them with his blade. Then he locked blades with the Jedi, and Dooku disarmed his opponent. Anakin persisted, lunging at Dooku, and the Sith was almost impressed, but still knocked him into the wall, and his opponent was finally unconscious. A separatist fighter arrived to take Dooku away, and he decided to also carry Anakin, as it would strike the first major hit into the side of the Republic. Leaving the hangar, Obi-Wan had recovered from the damage inflicted during the battle to report to the clones and Yoda of Dooku and Anakin's escape. The Grand Master instructs the new army to pursue the Sith, but more out of sympathy for Obi-Wan losing his Padawan, as he knew Dooku was too clever for them. The Jedi and clone troopers returned to Coruscant, aware that a new war had begun, and inside Mace Windu's quarters, Obi-Wan and Yoda discussed Dooku's claim that a Sith Lord controlled the Senate, before working out a plan to recover Anakin. The clones were gathering intelligence on the scale of the Separatist army, and they figured out that Dooku's army would likely be near his allies. The Jedi divide their resources to scope out territories of known allies, and discover a fleet above the planet of Cato Nemoidia. The determined Obi-Wan heads the clone squadron, and is supported by General Mace Windu, who has taken charge of one of the first produced Venice-class Star Destroyers. The Jedi find the fleet as their intelligence had reported, and Obi-Wan swoops vertically to the massive dreadnought firing at him. The Jedi Master suddenly found himself and his squadron suspended in the air in a purple bubble, before fading into darkness. Mace Windu covered his eyes from the blinding light emitted by the dreadnought in front of him, and one of the clone troopers identified the attack to be from an ion pulse cannon. The Jedi Master realised that such a weapon would have a time-consuming launch sequence and ordered the ARC-170 squadron to be deployed for a rescue. The aggressive starfighters dodged and weaved through the enemy fire, countering separatist starfighters with their own laser cannons, as Windu's fleet crept towards the frozen crew of Obi-Wan. Firstly drawing in Obi-Wan's interceptor, the other clones are soon recovered, just before the Dreadnought can fire off another deadly pulse. But only Obi-Wan was able to absorb the energy from the initial attack, using the Force to survive. This time, the Jedi opt for another approach, and Windu and Obi-Wan take one of the larger freighters, completing several orbits over the opposition to confuse them. By the time they fire their secondary cannons, the Jedi had taken the opportunity to dock on the top level, and they cut a path into the core of the destroyer. Windu goes to find Dooku or Grievous, whilst Obi-Wan went to free Anakin, finding the Jedi Knight after stealthily navigating past the patrolling battle droids. Returning his lightsaber to Anakin, his Padawan is oddly quiet, and the dark side was clouding him. Obi-Wan watched cautiously as Anakin followed him out and into their freighter, and joined by Mace Windu, who had defeated the droid general at the bridge of the ship before placing detonators to destroy it. Windu also looks at Anakin in a curious manner, aware that something was amiss, and he would have to discuss this with the Council. Despite their suspicions, the Jedi safely land back on Coruscant, where the Jedi Council convene for a report of the mission, whilst Anakin is escorted to the Halls of Healing. The Council members all turn to Obi-Wan, and he reveals the disturbance he had felt in Anakin, which was far beyond his obvious attachment to the former Senator of Naboo, Padme Amidala. Yoda instructs Obi-Wan to continue his close observation of Anakin, and together they depart for the Senate building, where a new Senator of Naboo is being voted in. Even more curiously, Anakin had already left the Healers and was standing in a Senate pod with Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, and together they put forward a compelling case for Representative Binks replacing Padme, as he was already the Associate Planetary Representative, and the Senate is murmuring with approval. The Jedi are worried that the Gungan would be manipulated, just as he had been in his decision to grant Palpatine emergency powers, but he was a reliable ally. After Jar Jar had been made a senator, Obi-Wan is quick to grab Anakin and asks him why he had been seated beside Palpatine. The Jedi shrugs off Obi-Wan's questioning glance, merely stating that he had been invited as a guest, and he believed that Padme's replacement had to be a worthy successor. The Jedi Master left Anakin to continue his discussion with Palpatine in his office, and he goes to the Halls of Healing to talk to the healers about the results of analysing Anakin. But as he arrived, he was shaken to his soul, as the healers and temple guards were hovering in midair, and Obi-Wan alerted the other Jedi. The Nautoland Master Kit Fisto is the first to reach him, and together they deactivate the trance that had been put over them. As they woke up, they revealed that Anakin had been quivering and resistant to their scanning of his brain, and they now insisted they should be taken to the planet of Kamino and examined in a similar manner to the clone army. Yoda walked to the Senate office building and bowed to the Chancellor before requesting that they wanted Anakin back at the temple, and he lets him go. But as they close the doors, Palpatine senses that the Jedi had been growing wary of his secret weapon and ordered Dooku to prepare himself for an attack on Kamino. The apprentice assured his master that their secret would not be revealed, and instructed Grievous and Ventress to cooperate for a joint attack on the imminent Republic fleet before entering into his own ship. Back at the Jedi Temple, Anakin could not hide his frustration of being taken away from his fascinating conversation with the Chancellor, but entered Yoda's quarters. Anakin told the Grand Master about the pain he had felt from the death of his mother and the death of Padme, and Yoda unhelpfully told him to release these emotions into the Force, before instructing him to join Republic forces on a journey to Kamino and examine the progress of the training clone cadets. Obi-Wan tailed his Padawan, hidden in a disguised light freighter, when he saw the navigational computer was loaded with the presence of a Separatist fleet. The Separatist fleet wasted no time in attacking Anakin's squadron, and the Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi in his freighter jolted to the wall of the other side of the ship. The hull of his ship was heavily damaged, and he summoned the reinforcement in the form of Commander Cody, who arrived to rescue Obi-Wan from the flames. In the chaos, he had lost track of Anakin's starfighter, and as he scoped for the presence of his Padawan, he finds his ship is no longer on their radar. Obi-Wan is worried that he had fallen into Separatist hands again, and ordered his troops to divert their fire to the ground forces and allow him to search for Anakin. The Jedi Master finds passage to the Separatist cruiser with disturbing ease and knows that he is going into a trap, so warns the rest of the Council. As he is welcomed by the Separatists, he ignited his blade and began metronomically slicing the battle droids before he saw the towering cyborg General Grievous. The warrior had already dealt several blows to the Jedi Order, but he was reluctant to fight the Jedi Master, luring him into a strange room, and the voice of Dooku boomed from above. The Sith apprentice called to something behind him, and Anakin floated out to the ground below. Upon Dooku's orders, Anakin attacked Obi-Wan, and the Jedi was confused, but reacted in time to fend off his Padawan learner. Dooku looked on amusingly, and is soon joined by Darth Sidious, watching as Obi-Wan struggled against Anakin, Grievous and the arriving Ventress. Dooku revealed to Obi-Wan how he had installed a control chip in Anakin, just as he had done in building the Grand Army of the Republic, and Obi-Wan realised that the Jedi's darkest fears had become a reality. As Anakin was about to deal a fatal strike, the entire ship is rocked by a massive explosion to its core. Obi-Wan takes advantage and runs out, and goes back into his ship, then dives for the surface of Kamino. On the ground, he runs into Shaak Ti and warns her to get inside, then change the controls of the clones. Master T is initially puzzled, but a furious look from her fellow council member makes her act immediately. The Togruta sprinted inside the cloning facility, and she ignores the questions posed by the station Kaminoans to go to the embryonic stage of the process. A group of astromech droids are summoned to break into the database, and she discovers that to change it required the permission of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. The hailstorm of blaster fire moving rapidly in her direction soon put an end to that plan, and she decided to slash violently at the machine using a lightsaber. The clones all around her pause and lower their blasters, disengaging with the droids, who then turn to her instead. Master T runs outside, berating Obi-Wan for his apparent brain-dead idea, but the Jedi Master felt Anakin returning to the light side of the Force. Again escaping the ground assault, Obi-Wan entered his starfighter, then bravely back to the burning dreadnought, where he saw Anakin had broken out of the control of the Sith and was battling Dooku with a vengeance. The Jedi is quickly assisted by Obi-Wan, then Yoda, who had seen Obi-Wan's transmission on Coruscant, and together they took down the Sith apprentice, whilst Obi-Wan disarmed Ventress. The three Jedi looked at Grievous and Sidious, and Anakin was keen to defeat his former friend, who had manipulated and deceived him. However, he soon became completely engulfed in Sith lightning, and almost flew out of the hangar, until he was saved by a Republic gunship full of Jedi, reinforcing their efforts. Grievous tried to escape in a nearby pod, but the Jedi were onto his attempts, firing their laser cannons at him before he could activate his hyperdrive, and the cyborg exploded into the debris of the sky. Sidious cackled deviously, initiating Order 66, but Obi-Wan declared his plans to have failed as no clones arrived. Sidious narrowed his eyes in annoyance, then aimed to kill Anakin, but the Jedi just rolled in time before his own eyes lit up, fueled by the hatred of the man responsible for the death of Padme. Although his skills were inferior, the courage of Anakin surprised the Dark Lord of the Sith, and alongside the Jedi Masters, the Supreme Chancellor dropped to the floor. The Jedi did not want the ship to become a shrine for those who had sympathised with the Sith Order, and they detonated the ship from within before returning to Coruscant. There the Jedi Order recovered from their ordeal, but Anakin had not returned to the temple. Instead, he had ventured to Naboo and visited the Naboo family before they visited the grave of Padme. Anakin vowed to continue his role of a Jedi in the name of Padme Amidala. That is it for What If Padme Died Falling in Attack of the Clones. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel for more What Ifs, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.